you ever have a leaky pipe at the house or electrical issues going on that you don't really understand, we usually have no problem calling the proper professional to help address those specific things. The problem is when we feel like something's not going right up in our heads, we feel really self-conscious and kind of scared or offended at the idea of going to a therapist. It's almost this personal attack, like, oh, I'm broken, or you think I'm stupid, or something's wrong with me. It's not like that at all. It's part of literally being a human being. And so many people are averse to going to the proper professional to deal with the thing that they specialize in. They can help you work through those issues, similar to the plumber fixing the pipes, the electrician fixing the wire issue that's been going on. They understand the inner workings of those things so they can troubleshoot in different ways. They have a specific language around all of that. So if you're averse to therapy, you haven't gone before, it's too expensive, or you're just kind of dipping your toes into your self-help journey and kind of focusing on your well-being, I think a really, really good place to start is understanding how to deal with your negative emotions. Negative being the ones that we label as negative, ones that are challenging to deal with. Think of the sadness, the anger, the frustration, things like grief. Those are the things we're kind of referencing when we think of negative emotions for the context of this video. So the very, very first place to start is understanding the language around emotions. So we can do this by looking at something called the feeling wheel. So I've talked about this a lot before on my channel, but you can either come to this video, you can come to my emotions video that I've talked about a long time ago. I'll link it in the description below. You can just go on Google and type in the feeling wheel, or you can reference one of these videos. Basically what it is it's a series of 3 different sections of a chart that you can look at to label an emotion. And what it's doing is it's helping you become more comprehensive in your language on how you think about emotions and how you understand them. Similar to the plumber, similar to the electrician, or similar to a mechanic for your vehicle, they understand what an engine is, what a pipe is, what an outlet is, what a breaker box is, what the different tools are to fix those things, to address those things, and what might happen to make them malfunction. Similarly, we look at this to help us understand the inner workings or the engine of some of our emotions. It's a great basic place to start. What you do is you start in the center, you look at all these different emotions, and you pick one. You could even pick 2. It's possible for you to feel 2 different things at once. We're very dynamic and nuanced as human beings. You can be happy that a friend got a promotion, but you can also be sad that maybe something didn't go so hot at your job the other day too. These can exist at the same time. Once you've picked your emotion or emotions, go to the next layer. What do you feel? What do you think you feel? Try your best to pick a couple. Then what you're going to do is you're going to go to the outermost layer and pick the last thing or things that you feel. Now, once you've assigned these specific words or a word to the thing that you're feeling, I want you to just sit and feel the emotion. Really, really feel it. Like, no matter how painful it is, no matter how weird or awkward or uncomfortable, just let it up and out. Really, really feel it. That doesn't mean if you're sad, you have to be explosively crying or you have to be a certain way. Just let your body physically manifest through that emotion of what it's supposed to feel naturally. And it's going to be weird at first. It's going to be uncomfortable and kind of ambiguous, but at least you have sort of a language to understand, okay, this is kind of where I'm at right now. This is kind of what the thing that I'm feeling is. And then what you're going to do is do a body scan. You're going to go from the top of your head down to the bottoms of your feet. You're going to pay really, really close attention to what am I feeling physically, the actual sensation. Is the top of your head really hot? Do you have a headache? Are your eyes really hurting? Do they have a lot of pressure in them? Are the backs of your ears really hot in this area? Are you feeling a lot of tension and heat? Are your cheeks really hurting because you're kind of scrunching your face a lot? Maybe your jaw hurts, or you have a certain knot in your throat and it's hard to swallow, or your mouth is very, very dry. Pay super close attention to all these sensations. Work your way further down. What are you feeling in your chest? Is your heart beating super fast? Is it beating super slow? Is there a certain tightness or pain that you're feeling? Pay attention to your muscles, all the different fibers, the different ligaments and tendons and everything. We're just observing. We're looking and understanding, what is this supposed to feel like? And there is no universally perfect answer. That's part of the journey of dealing with your emotions and processing them. And once you do that, you go through the full body scan, you've looked at the feeling wheel, you're just observing and you're feeling it and letting it come up and out, whatever that may be like. Now, what's really interesting here is that talking about your emotions alone doesn't actually help you process them. What you also have to do is literally feel the emotion that you're talking about, and then you start the processing, then you start the healing. So if I were to just go to a friend and try and vent to them, but I'm kind of stuffing the emotion to the side or pushing it away and just, let me forget that. Let me just not think about it right now or push it to the side. If I'm just kind of arbitrarily talking about it, I'm not actually feeling and experiencing the emotion. It's just kind of buried, swept under the rug and pushed aside. So that's the important caveat there, is that you actually have to feel it to start processing it. And if you think back many, many years ago, before we had technology, before we had social media and screens all over the place, everywhere, all day, every day, what was that like? People were bored a lot. People had so much time to just sit and do nothing. You're working on the farm, you're sitting and just kind of waiting for an animal to get in the pen or finish eating, or you're doing chores and you're just kind of sitting out there in the sun. You're not really listening to music. You don't have a TV out there. You're not watching anything. You're just kind of doing something. And through all the simplicity, through all the tasks and the work that you would do, there was so much downtime. And so it was so much easier for people to sit there and think and process their emotions and actually feel the things that they were supposed to be feeling. Now, it didn't mean that everyone was immune to just any mental health struggles, but what it does suggest is that if we look at today, what do we usually do? Typically, right? The average person, generally speaking, right? We're always looking at screens. We're always stimulated by something. You're watching this video on a screen right now. Usually we wake up, we check our phones, we're scrolling through, looking at memes or videos or texts or emails, and instantly your brain is flooded with all this dopamine, all this activity, all this stimulation. What happens after that? We get in a car, we look at a GPS, we look at a thing, we're on the phone, we're talking to somebody, we're worried about work, we get to work, we start doing all these things, we look at screens, we take a lunch break, more screens, we're in between clients or a project or whatever, we're looking at another screen. This keeps happening again and again. You get off work, what do? Oh, I'm so tired, I gotta relax, I gotta eat. You start binge watching your favorite Netflix show, you start looking at screen. Then once you lay down, what happens? Oh, it's time to go to bed. Turn off the lights, turn off your phone, put everything on charge. It's all set up and ready to go. Now your brain won't shut off. It won't shut up. It starts yelling at you. And all these thoughts start swirling around and they're bumping into each other. It's because we haven't processed the things that we're supposed to process. We haven't dealt with the emotions that we're supposed to. And this happens to literally millions and millions and millions of people. There's so many people that can relate with the idea of struggling to fall asleep because your mind is just so fired up and active, right? It's because we've never dedicated the proper time to sit and actually observe and feel the feelings that we're feeling. So remember, the more that you can dedicate conscious time, intentional time to feeling the emotion, not just talking about it, but talking and feeling it. Really, really understanding what's the language around this emotion. How can I become more comprehensive and understand the feeling wheel? Can I do the body scans, go up and down? Really learn, what does this feel like when I experience sadness or grief or anger, frustration, or whatever? It could be for the positive, happy, feel good emotions too. It doesn't just have to be for the negative ones. Try this. Let me know how it works for you. There's so much more we could talk about all of this, but I think that's a good starting point for a lot of people. Literally within the last several weeks, I've had several people come to me in some different form or fashion and say that they really struggle with processing any kind of hateful or negative type of emotions. Something that's kind of sad and upsetting. They're like, oh, well, I'm just going to scoot that to the side, or I just kind of forget it, or I just keep myself busy. I like to, watch shows and work on things really hard and just kind of forget about it. Not the best approach, not very healthy. And what you'll realize is that the more you stuff these things inside of you, the more they turn into this poisonous creature, this venomous thing that eats away at your heart and soul and brain. It's very, very painful in the long run, and it's super defeating because it's not healthy. We're not supposed to just feel the happy stuff, just feel the good stuff. Part of enjoying life is experiencing the horrible, suffering, terrible, chaotic things, as funny and strange and as upsetting as that might sound to some people. Like, what is life if every moment is just pure bliss and joy and happiness? We can't appreciate the good unless we have the bad. We can't only feel one emotion. Humans are so much more nuanced than that. They're so much more dynamic than that. Take a step back and try to apply what you've learned in this video today. Best of luck on your journey with your emotions. Remember to take care of yourselves. Remember to take care of those around you. For all things psychology to help you think, feel, and perform better, stay tuned right here on Psychology of Living.